I got you something, I said, sliding the gift across the table as she sipped her wine, pretending everything was perfect. Ashley smiled, fake, lazy, manipulative. Ah, babe, what's this? She ripped the velvet paper like a kid on Christmas morning. Then silence. Total silence. Her eyes locked on the framed photo in her hands. A photo she sent me. From her yoga class. Only now it was blown up. And the mirror in the background clearly showed the muscular arm of a half-naked man, holding her waist like she belonged to him. I leaned in. The mirror never lies, I said. Her face froze. Color drained from her cheeks. The glass of wine trembled in her hand. Matt, I can explain. No, I want the truth. Now. She tried to laugh. It's not what it looks like. I stood up, my voice cold. Say his name. She dropped the frame on the table with a clack. The smile on her lips twisted into something darker. Fine, she said, eyes gleaming with defiance. You want the truth? I let him take me right there, after class. While you were at work, like always. I didn't blink. And I took that selfie right after. Thought it'd be funny. That's where this story really begins. Because I didn't flip the table. I didn't scream. I smiled and said, good. Then let's see how funny this gets. 3 weeks earlier, I was sitting at my desk at work when Ashley's message came through. Yoga class killed me today, but I feel amazing now. Love you, Red Heart. Attached was a mirror selfie, her in tight leggings, sports bra, all sweaty and glowing. At first, I smiled like any dumb husband would. She looked hot, no denying it. But then I did something I normally wouldn't have. I zoomed in. Something felt off. The background was a typical yoga studio, with those big wall mirrors. But in the lower right corner, almost hidden, I noticed it. A man's arm. Tattooed. Veiny. Muscular. And wrapped around her waist. It wasn't some stranger walking by. He was that close to her, their bodies touching, his hand pressing against her skin like it belonged there. My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen, trying to breathe. My ears rang like I'd just been hit in the head. I zoomed in again and again, hoping I was seeing things wrong. Maybe it was a trick of the light. Maybe it wasn't what I thought. But no. That arm wasn't mine. And it definitely wasn't supposed to be there. That was the exact second something broke inside me. For 8 years, I defended her. Even when people raised their eyebrows at how she flirted with guys at parties. Even when she'd come home late without texting. I told myself she was loyal. That I was lucky. That I could trust her. And now, here I was. Staring at a photo she sent me herself, like a trophy from her betrayal. I didn't confront her that night. No screaming. No slamming doors. Instead, I played the quiet game. You see, Ashley's greatest strength was her mouth. She could lie faster than most people could breathe. She'd twist every truth into a joke, every suspicion into paranoia. If I rushed in with accusations, she'd just flip the script again. Cry. Blame me. Maybe even gaslight me into thinking I was crazy. Not this time. I wanted her to feel caught. Truly caught. No way out. So, I did something I never thought I'd do. I began to plan revenge. Calmly. Calculated. I copied the photo to my personal drive. Ordered a custom wooden frame. Engraved the bottom with "The mirror never lies." Then, I started acting extra sweet. Brought her flowers. Booked us a weekend getaway. She was over the moon, thinking I was trying to reconnect. She had no idea I already knew. She started relaxing. Stopped hiding her phone as much. Even got bolder, coming home after midnight one day with messy hair and a weak excuse about drinks with the girls. She didn't even smell like wine. I could feel her pulling away, little by little. Like I didn't matter anymore. Like I was just a prop in her carefully constructed lie. It ate at me every single day. Watching her smile. Hearing her laugh. Feeling her touch me with hands that had been on someone else just hours earlier. But I didn't break. I held it all in, letting the pressure build like a ticking bomb. I booked the cabin, remote, quiet, romantic. She lit up like a teenager when I told her. Oh my God, babe. This is exactly what we need. What you need, I thought. I need answers. I need truth. I need you to suffer the way I have. And finally, the day came. She packed cute little outfits, even brought candles. Probably thought we'd have one of those fake movie getaways where the struggling couple rediscovers their spark. But the only thing she'd be rediscovering was reality. The night I handed her the gift, she was glowing from wine and compliments. She had no idea she was holding her own noose. And when she opened it, everything changed. That frame, that image, it broke her mask wide open. But the worst part wasn't the cheating. It was how fast she admitted it. Like it was nothing. Like I didn't matter. Like I was already gone. I didn't expect the honesty. Not like that. Not with a smirk. Ashley had always been a liar, smooth, quick, slippery, the kind of woman who could convince you the sky was green if it meant covering her tracks. But that night, after she opened the photo frame and realized the game was up, something inside her changed. Or maybe, she finally stopped pretending. "You want the truth?" she said again, pouring herself more wine like we were talking about forgetting the groceries. Fine. I hooked up with him. A few times. It was fun. I stood frozen across the room. Hands clenched. Pulse in my ears. "Who is he?" I asked. She shrugged. "His name's Blake. He works next door to the yoga studio. Trainer or something." I didn't ask for his resume. Just like that. I stared at her, trying to read her face, to find even a flicker of guilt or regret. Nothing. She leaned against the counter, swirling her wine, not even looking at me anymore. "I don't know why you're acting like this is some massive betrayal," she added. "You've been checked out for months. You come home tired, you barely talk, and you're always glued to your laptop." I blinked. "So that's your excuse?" "Because I was working." She laughed, that cruel, mocking laugh I hadn't heard in years. "Oh please, Matt. You think being a boring husband gives you a free pass forever? Look at yourself. You've got no edge anymore. No spark. Blake made me feel alive again. You? You make me feel like a goddamn receptionist." That one hit deep. Deeper than I expected. I didn't speak. I just stared. Because if I opened my mouth, I wasn't sure I'd stop. The rage bubbling under my skin was volcanic. She walked past me like I was invisible, sat on the armrest of the couch, and picked up her phone. "You're being dramatic," she said without looking up. "You'll get over it." I took a step toward her. "You're married. To me. And you made vows, Ashley." "Yeah, well," she said, flipping through notifications. People change. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This wasn't just betrayal, this was psychological warfare. She wasn't sorry. She was proud. She wanted me to feel like I was the problem. "You've done this before, haven't you?" I asked, voice low. She raised an eyebrow. "Define this." I clenched my fists. "You've cheated before." Her silence said everything. "I knew it," I whispered. She finally looked up, ice cold. "You always suspected, right? That's why you never trusted me fully. Maybe this whole time, you were just waiting for a reason to explode." I walked away before I did something I'd regret. Into the hallway. Into the bathroom. Splashed cold water on my face and looked in the mirror. The man staring back at me looked unfamiliar. Angry. Hollow. Broken. How had I become this? I gave everything to this woman, my time, my loyalty, my heart, and she turned it into a joke. A performance. And now, she stood in my living room, sipping wine like she hadn't just destroyed our marriage in one sentence. Back in the room, she had her feet up. Relaxed. "I'm filing for divorce," I said finally. She barely reacted. "Do what you have to do. I'm taking the house. You can have it. I already have somewhere else I can stay." I stared at her. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "With him." That was it. The knife. Not twisted, just slammed straight into the chest. She got up, walked to the bedroom, and shut the door like we'd just finished a boring dinner argument. And me? I sat alone in the cabin we were supposed to reconnect in, with nothing but the sound of blood in my ears and the image of that tattooed arm burned into my memory. I had stayed silent for too long, let her disrespect slide for too long. But this was war. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the cabin porch for hours, listening to the wind cut through the trees and staring at the dark outline of the forest. The fire inside had gone out. The wine glasses were still sitting on the table. The photo frame was face down on the floor, cracked in the corner. I couldn't stop thinking about her words. I already have somewhere else I can stay with him. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I didn't even move. I just sat there, jaw locked, mind spinning. This wasn't just betrayal. This was humiliation. Ashley didn't care that I knew. She wasn't scared. She didn't apologize. She walked over the wreckage like she expected me to clean it up. And for years, I had. I had made excuses for her selfishness. Smiled through the disrespect. Paid the bills, bought the gifts, let things slide because I thought being patient made me a good husband. But what it really made me was a target. At dawn, I went inside, packed my bag, and left without a word. She didn't even come out to ask where I was going. Just silence from behind the bedroom door. Back in the city, I didn't go home. I booked a hotel room under a fake name and spent the next 3 days off the grid. No calls. No texts. Just silence and strategy. I started gathering information. I remembered the name she'd let slip during our fight, Blake. I knew the gym she went to. I drove past it on the second night, parked across the street, and waited. Sure enough, around 8:30, she pulled up in her white SUV. Not dressed for yoga this time, she was in a tight black dress and heels, laughing on the phone as she walked inside. 5 minutes later, Blake showed up. Tall, built, cocky, tattoos down both arms. The kind of guy who thought women were trophies and other men were background noise. I watched him lean in and kiss her outside the entrance like it was nothing. Like my wife hadn't just burned our life to the ground for that moment. I took a picture, then another, then a video. I had what I needed, but I wasn't rushing anything. This wasn't going to be a screaming match in a parking lot. No fists, no drama, just calculated destruction. I called a lawyer the next morning, told him everything, sent the photos, gave him names, dates, times. I documented it all. Adultery. He said I'd have leverage in court. That if she tried to go after the house or spousal support, we'd bury her. That was the first time I smiled in days. But I wasn't done. There was still one piece I needed to take back, not legally, not financially, but personally. My pride. I drove back to our house late one night, let myself in with my key. It was quiet. She wasn't home. Of course not. She was with him. I walked through every room like I was a stranger, touched the photos on the wall, the pillows on the couch. Everything looked normal, like a happy couple lived there. But it was all a lie. I went to her bedroom and opened her closet, took out every piece of lingerie I had ever bought her, tore it in half and dropped it in the trash. I grabbed the perfume I gave her on our anniversary, poured it down the drain. In the drawer, I found her old journals, pages of romantic nonsense, future plans, things she'd once said she wanted with me. I threw them into the fireplace and watched them burn. It wasn't revenge. Not yet. It was the cleansing before the storm. She came home that night to an empty house. No note. No trace of me. I wanted her to wonder where I went. I wanted her to feel the silence, to feel the absence. Because the next time we spoke, I wouldn't be the man she thought she left behind. The day Ashley came home to an empty house, she started calling. First once, then 3 times, then 8. I didn't pick up. Her voicemails began calm, then moved into panic. She asked where I was. She said we should talk like adults. She claimed I was acting irrational. And then, my favorite, she said, I didn't mean to hurt you. Didn't mean to? She took a photo after letting another man touch her. She framed it like it was a trophy and sent it to me. That wasn't an accident. That was arrogance. But I wasn't interested in her words anymore. I was only interested in results. I waited another day. Then I forwarded her the lawyer's email. Subject, divorce filing, adultery grounds. No message. Just the attachment. I knew she'd read it within seconds. Within the hour, she called again. 11 times. Then came the texts. Matt, please. We don't need to do this. I was going through something. I didn't think you'd find out like that. Every excuse sounded weaker than the last. I ignored them all. The truth is, I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't broken. I wasn't sad. I was focused. I had given her everything, and she threw it away for gym guy with tattoos and a protein shake. So now, she would watch everything she took for granted disappear slowly, piece by piece. First, the money. I froze the joint accounts. My lawyer made sure I moved my direct deposits to a separate account in my name only. Ashley was left with the crumbs, and from what I knew, Blake wasn't exactly rolling in cash. Then, the credit cards. Frozen. She couldn't even buy gas without texting me. She tried calling my sister for help. My sister told her to go to hell. Next, the social circle. I sent copies of the photo, the one with Blake's arm wrapped around her waist, to a very select group of friends and family. No explanation. No words. Just the image. Let them draw their own conclusions. She lost friends within days. Invitations stopped coming. The group chats grew quiet. Even her own mother called me to ask what the hell was going on. She cheated, I said. Repeatedly. Silence on the line. Then a soft, I'm so sorry, Matt. It wasn't much, but it was enough. Now the world was finally seeing her for what she was. But I wasn't done. The last piece, the one I really cared about, was her pride. She always saw herself as untouchable. Beautiful, clever, desired. The center of every room. So I decided to take that from her too. I found out Blake was already seeing someone else. Some girl who worked at the smoothie bar 2 blocks down. I paid a college kid I knew to take photos. Nothing illegal. Just a few snapshots of Blake and the girl out together, holding hands, kissing behind the gym. I printed them out and mailed them directly to Ashley. No return address. She received them 2 days later. That same night, she texted me again. You planned this. You sick bastard. You wanted to destroy me. No, Ashley. You destroyed yourself. I just made sure you couldn't sweep it under the rug this time. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. She spiraled on her own. I heard from a mutual friend that she showed up to the gym screaming at Blake. Threw a water bottle at his car. Accused him of using her, of ruining her life. He laughed. Then he blocked her. And just like that, she was alone. No husband. No lover. No money. No sympathy. Exactly where she left me that night at the cabin. Except now, I wasn't the one broken anymore. She was. A week passed. 7 full days without a single response from me. And that silence, my silence, did more damage than any insult ever could. Ashley, once the loudest voice in every room, had gone quiet. At least publicly. But behind the scenes, she was unraveling. She showed up at my sister's place. Uninvited. Crying. Pathetic. I just need to talk to him, she said. Just 5 minutes. My sister told her to leave before she called the cops. Ashley begged. Said I was the love of her life. That she'd made a mistake. That Blake meant nothing. That she'd do anything to fix things. Anything. That night, I got an email. Subject. Please read this. I almost deleted it. But something told me to open it. I wasn't expecting anything new, just more manipulations, more lies, but curiosity got the better of me. And sure enough, it was a 3-page sob story. She wrote about how lonely she'd been, how she felt neglected, how she thought I didn't love her anymore. She said Blake was a distraction, a mistake, a moment of weakness. She used all the words people like her use when they realize the consequences are real. Then she wrote this. I still believe in us. I know you hate me, but if there's even one part of you that still remembers what we were, please talk to me. Please. That was the first time I truly laughed in weeks. She believed in us? Where was that belief when she was lying to my face? Where was that love when she was getting touched by another man in the middle of a yoga studio and smiling about it? I stared at the email for a long time. Then I typed exactly 6 words. The mirror never lies. Goodbye, Ashley. And I hit send. No long explanations. No anger. No vulnerability. Just truth. The kind she couldn't twist. A few minutes later, she replied. You're really doing this? After everything? I didn't answer. The next day, she showed up outside my workplace. She waited in the parking lot, pacing in a hoodie, trying to look broken and harmless. I didn't go out. I had security escort her off the property. The day after that, she posted on Instagram a black and white photo of a sunset. The caption, sometimes we lose the best things because we didn't know how to hold them. I laughed again. The comments were off. Of course they were. She couldn't handle the truth anymore. You see, Ashley wasn't sorry. She was just caught. That's what people like her do. They don't change. They just panic when the consequences finally show up. She wasn't mourning me. She was mourning the version of herself she had built with my help. The stability. The image. The lifestyle. The safety net. Gone. I wasn't her rock anymore. I was the one who pulled the floor out from under her. And it felt good. Not because I enjoy seeing people suffer, but because justice, real justice, is rare. And this was pure. That weekend, I boxed up the last of her things. Had them delivered to her sister's place. I left a note inside. Next time, take selfies alone. Final touch. Final word. After that, I blocked her on everything. She tried calling from unknown numbers. Tried emailing from different accounts. Even mailed a handwritten letter to my office. I didn't open it. Because she already got her answer. And I'd already said goodbye. The first morning I woke up in my new apartment, I didn't feel relief. I felt empty. Not peaceful. Not proud. Not victorious. Just quiet. The kind of quiet that lingers after a bomb has gone off and the dust is still settling. It was a small place, bare walls, mismatched furniture, nothing on the shelves. Half my clothes were still in boxes. The kitchen smelled like cardboard, and the fridge was empty except for a 6-pack and half a loaf of bread. But it was mine. Mine, and hers couldn't touch it. I stood in the middle of the living room that morning, cup of coffee in my hand, and just stared out the window at the city, watching people live their lives. Laughing, rushing, working, arguing, loving. I wondered how many of them had been through what I just survived. How many had been lied to by someone they trusted more than themselves? The first few days were hard. Not because I missed her. I didn't. Not anymore. But because the structure of my life had been built around her. And when she was gone, it all crumbled. I had to learn how to exist without second-guessing every move. Without expecting someone to walk through the door and ruin my day with a lie behind a smile. I started working out again. Hard. Early mornings, late nights. Not for revenge. Not to glow up and make her jealous. Just to feel something. Control, maybe. Discipline. I went back to therapy too. Something I hadn't touched in years. The first session, the therapist asked me, "What do you want to work on?" I said, "Trust." He nodded, like he'd heard it 1,000 times. But it wasn't about trusting someone else again. I didn't care about dating. I wasn't interested in falling back into the same cycle. I wanted to trust myself. My own judgment. My instincts. Because that's what betrayal really steals. It makes you doubt everything, not just her. But you? How did I not see it coming? Why didn't I act sooner? Why did I let it go so far? Those questions haunted me more than anything she said or did. I kept busy. Started volunteering on weekends. Picked up extra shifts. Helped a buddy renovate his garage just to stay out of my own head. And it started working. Slowly. There were still triggers, though. Moments that hit out of nowhere. Like when I passed a yoga studio and instinctively looked for a mirror. Or when a woman in line at the grocery store sprayed the same perfume Ashley used to wear. My stomach dropped before my brain could catch up. It wasn't about her anymore. It was about what she represented. Loss. Deception. Failure. But every day, it got quieter. Then, one morning, about 2 months after the divorce was finalized, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. It was her. "Matt, I know you probably won't listen to this, but I'm sorry. I really am. I miss you. I miss what we had. I thought I was happy, but I wasn't. I ruined everything. I know that now. I wish I could take it back." She paused, then added, "Please don't hate me forever." I deleted the message. Not out of anger. Not even out of pride. Just because I didn't need it. I didn't need her guilt. Her regret. Her voice crawling back into my space. She had her chance. And she chose destruction. I chose survival. And now? I was learning to choose peace. Looking back now, months later, it's strange how quiet the pain became. At first, it was fire. Then smoke. Then silence. But it never really disappears. It just changes shape. I've had a lot of time to think. About her. About me. About how things got to that point, and what I should have seen earlier. You always notice the red flags in hindsight. Always. But when you're in it, you want to believe so badly that you ignore the signs. You make excuses. You bend your own values until you don't even recognize yourself. Ashley didn't break me with that one betrayal. She chipped away at me for years. The coldness. The eye rolls. The long nights out with no explanation. The lies that didn't even sound convincing, but I accepted anyway. Because I wanted to be the man who believed in his wife. I wanted to be loyal. Solid. The guy who didn't